Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we get these camels out of the way of the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummerett.
I'm Gerald Christopher St. Adrian of Nicomedia, the patron saint of arms dealers. Porter.
Wow.
I love that I always get you, Pete.
And I'm Pete the retailer.
Welcome back.
Not an arms dealer,
Not an arms dealer.
as far as anyone here knows.
Or you're the best arms dealer in the world, because no one knows.
How do you, I mean, if you're an arms dealer, there's a saint for you.
Yeah, that's actually kind of comforting. Like, everybody's
Yeah,
kind of
just-
equal in the eyes of the saints. Everybody's
Dear
loved by somebody.
Saint Adrian of Nicomedia, please make sure those bazookas arrive safely.
Nicomedia sounds like some kind of web startup.
It does.
Oh, it does.
It
Yeah,
does.
Nicky Media.
Nicomedia.
Well, listen, we're all here to talk about minute 84 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which begins with Elsa telling Donovan that Indy and Henry have escaped, and it ends with Vogel denying Marcus water.
Okay, so Tommy, you're as dumb as I am.
Uh-huh.
We're both dumb in slightly
Yeah.
different ways, but you're like I say, you're the weather vane.
Exactly like people say,
how-
like dumb.
Yes. So this is, I'm asking you.
Mhm.
This is the first time Elsa has seen Donovan, and she's just telling him now that Indy and Henry have escaped?
No, see, this is super weird, and I didn't hit on this until, like, just watching it for this. That, yeah,
Well,
she's
okay,
acting...
because I'm,
No, yeah. You're not dumb. You're
Well,
not
okay,
dumb. That's the short
I'm not.
answer.
Oh God, thank God,
Yeah.
God. Because I'm thinking here, like, what about all those APBs at the Flughafen? You know what I mean? What like,
Right.
isn't Vogel with Donovan right now? Like, didn't Vogel get thrown out of a Zeppelin by Indiana Jones? Like, does the Scooby-Doo
Yeah.
castle has burned down? The Scooby-Doo castle is burned down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe-
What
What
I quicker. But
Yeah,
the weird part
like,
is, you're right.
yeah.
There's all those different modes of communication that could have gotten to Donovan by now, but it's super weird that she is just telling him now after she had her, Human League moment with Indy in Berlin, and so she hasn't reported that until now. Like, maybe now, like, the burned telegraph wires from the castle have gotten fixed, and they're telling, the news has gotten out that the Jones boys have escaped from the castle. But now is just telling Donovan that, she's keeping something from him. It's weird.
I made an allowance for that on this. Like, maybe she might have a little something for Indy, some feelings for him, and she might not want to see him completely captured, or she might want to see him alive because, I think she respects him as as an archaeologist, and I don't know, maybe he'll quote come in handy later, either with the Grail or Venice. I don't know.
Why was that a quote?
What's that?
Quote, come in handy later.
Who are you quoting?
Why do you ask these questions?
Well, this makes no sense. I mean, they know that Indiana Jones has escaped. Like, Vogel has been thrown out of a Zeppelin window
That's the
by
super weird
Indiana
part.
Jones.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe Donovan really did drive the car all the way from Austria, and then he picked up Brody along the way, and they've been out of kind of contact until
But
today.
but Vogel's there now.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah.
very first thing he'd say to him in the wherever they rendezvoused in the Republic of Hatay.
Yeah.
Although we don't see Donovan's reaction. He could just be like, "Yes, I know they escaped."
Third time you've told me. You've been telling me this since Berlin. Sheesh. Maybe Vogel was just like deeply embarrassed that he got knocked out of a Zeppelin by Indiana Jones. He just hasn't told anybody.
But what
All
about
the Jones
the
boys
castle?
escaped. I don't know.
The castle's on fire.
Yeah,
That's,
no, they were
that's
searching for them
Donovan's
at the Zeppelin
house.
place. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's Donovan's house. Like his house
Yeah.
is burned to the ground.
Yeah, it's all very weird.
His house.
There are a lot of weird scenes like that in this movie. A lot of weird lines
Yeah,
and
there are.
stuff that are like, okay, that sounds like the end of a scene, but it also doesn't work. Like, it doesn't
Right.
hold water.
This is where words like this would go, but they don't really necessarily
Right.
match.
Right.
Kind
They
of
look
what's
good in the
going on
screenplay,
here.
but they still need to make sense.
Well, but you know what's strange? I mean, you can imagine. It's like, sir, your house was burned to the ground. Oh, really? Were the Jones boys in it?
No.
I don't know. I mean, but he did. Remember, he did just kind of weirdly up and leave. Like they just left him tied there.
There was like a manhunt with like flyers and stuff. There was like,
Yeah, there was a manhunt with flyers.
yeah.
Well, I've got another weird question. So we cut from that to Sallah driving his brother-in-law's car through the streets with Indy in beside him and Henry in the back. And did Sallah suffer no consequences for punching the Nazis? Or did he also have to make some kind of daring escape like Henry and Indy?
Oh, that's a good question. Although that scene ended so weirdly where Brody got taken. It was like, remember like one of the guys who like shoved him into the truck and like closed up the truck? Just, like, didn't even leave. He just kind of like wandered over, started playing like dice or something, like right next to where Sallah was standing. It's like a super weird scene.
Yeah, and then when you learn that Salah's actually got a car, he could have chased after him instead of just standing there watching them drive away at 2 miles an hour.
Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he just got it like since then or something.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
I
Wait,
picked it
so
up yet
where
or something.
the guys that he punched, that dude who does that weird bow that Marcus clicks back for, like where is that guy after Sallah punches him?
Maybe he killed them both with one punch each. They're dead.
Through his like Bill Bull run
Sallah
at.
killed those guys. Yeah.
He said,
Sallah, you killed those guys. What's wrong with you?
you know what's really weird? If you look closely at the scene right where Salah's driving through the streets, Henry is in the back seat and he's honking the car horn.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. That's really funny.
Yeah, I think Sallah maybe hits it once or twice and then starts driving, and Henry reaches around and starts hitting the horn from the back seat. And what's amazing is it's a total watershed moment, a few minutes back, because Henry's clearly no longer passive here. Now he's a horn honker.
Right. He's got his hand on the horn. That's hysterical.
He's
I'll show you to honk a horn.
Yeah, he's no longer this passive guy.
Yeah. You know what's really nice about this scene? We'll get into the details later, but we have to say first, Indiana Jones looks just like Indiana Jones in this scene. He's sweaty. He's in like a sunny, dusty place. His shirt's open. He's annoyed.
Okay, you know what it is? You just glossed over it like it was no big deal. He looks like him because he doesn't wear a tie.
That's true.
Yeah, he's not wearing a tie.
I like the tie. I do think he looks more like Indiana Jones here.
I think it's more the sweat and the squint.
Yeah, I think
the squint is important.
The sweat and the sun
Yeah.
and the dust. Yeah, he's in his element.
Mm-hmm.
This is our Indy. They were right to bring him back to the desert.
Although not
And there's camels.
don't want to take anything away from White Tuck's white suit jacket.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good Indiana
club.
Jones.
Clubbing Indy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that look too. But this is,
Club Ben Kenobi. Yeah.
I have a question because I can't recall it all. Do you guys remember how did people meet up before cell phones?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe
How
they
did
make
he?
plans or something?
yeah.
Yeah, because right here the first question was how did Indy and Henry meet Sallah? How did they meet up with him here? And then I'm like, well, they called him on his. And I stopped and I said, wait a minute. I lived in a time where people would meet up without cell phones.
Right.
And I go, and I have no idea how that was ever accomplished.
So they told Sallah, "We'll meet you at the mall in front of the Orange Julius," and Salah's been waiting there ever since.
Right. Oh, that's sad.
So how did they meet up?
I'm assuming they called or telegram.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Telegram.
But if you're in his like Salah's in the Skedron, right? He's at that Potemkin village,
Yeah.
and like, how do you reach him? Did they?
Yeah, he would have to know to
did
look
they
for a
drive?
Well, he was already waiting for them there, so they may have set a spot to meet beforehand, and that's why Salah's just sticking around in the village. Like maybe that's why he didn't go after Brody.
Maybe.
Right.
Wait a minute. But he's arranged to meet Marcus, and Salah's going to meet Marcus.
Yeah.
But Sallah thinks Indy's showing up too, and then Marcus says, "Don't panic, it's just me." So maybe he's like, "Oh, well, that means Indy's still coming."
What's weird is when we saw Marcus and Sallah, it seemed like they were on their way without Indy. Like they met up and they were going to go do something.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Like, Marcus was supposed to be like a advance guy or something.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Well,
it's
he
weird
had
that
he had
Salah's
the
still hanging
map.
around. Yeah, yeah. I still don't get that. I don't know what they were supposed to be doing. Like, I don't know why. I still don't know why he sent Marcus on ahead. I don't know why.
But I would like to see
Well,
that
What's supposed to be doing?
as like a.
He was supposed to get a head start. Because Indy says in the castle, like, with any luck, he's already found the Grail. He's got a 2-day head start, and you're like, okay, he has a head start to find the Grail because they know the starting point is Alexandretta.
But then he also said he was making that all up, so maybe he didn't expect him to get a head start. Maybe that was just a line he was feeding the Nazis.
Right.
Maybe.
But I do want to see the Marcus and Sallah kind of anthology film, or just the two of them.
There's another fine mess you've gotten us into.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of that anthology film, is Sallah speaking Pig Latin here when he's yelling at the camel driver?
Oh, what is
I thought, yeah.
It
I
sounds like
thought
he's
you
saying
were
ipse, like zip, zip.
No, he's saying his famous line from Raiders. Ipshy, ipshy, whatever that, hurry up or whatever that phrase is.
Oh, okay.
his famous line?
Am I
from
the only
Raiders.
guy who remembers that?
I don't remember that.
Raiders of the Lost Ark,
I don't remember that
1981.
either.
Was that?
When they're
Yeah.
really, when they're clearing off they're finding the Well of the Souls. They found the edges of the thing. Quickly, boys, find the edges quickly. And he's ipshy, ipshy. I swear to God, we talked
Really?
about that.
I don't remember that at all.
Really? Oh my God, wheelie? Yeah. Wow.
I figured that was like that's like the kind of the short term for Ypsilanti, Michigan. Like, I'm from Ipsy.
Suddenly, I'm
People
the
are like, oh,
best
you're-
Indiana
yeah, I'm
Jones
from
fan on the
Ipsy.
show.
Yes, suddenly.
We do have a very dramatic turn of events here, though, because we've gone from a Scooby-Doo show to Gilligan's Island when Henry takes off his hat and hits Indy with it.
I was preparing myself for that. It wasn't fast enough. You got it out too quick. I was just about to say, Tom, what? Tom,
was
don't.
right there
Tommy,
waiting for
don't. Gilligan.
Well, look at my hands on you.
Is Sallah chagrined here? Like, does he think that he failed? Because he answers Indy very formally. He's like,
Yeah.
I believe they took Mr. Brody with them.
Is Indy asking, where is Sallah? Why isn't Sallah here? I mean, why isn't Marcus here? Or is he saying, like...
He's like, where's Sallah? Come on.
It's I'm going to mix them up. It's okay. Indy's question is weird, and Salah's answer is super weird. Because it sounds like... I don't even know how to phrase... Like, okay, Indy's asking, where's Marcus? And then Salah's answer makes it sound like Indy already knows that Marcus got taken by the Nazis. But then somehow Sallah has, like, information on the Nazis' movements, like where they're going, like their intel, like, oh yeah, I hear that the Nazis have Marcus with them, and they're moving across.
He's
the
got his
desert
ear
or
to the
something?
street.
Yeah.
I guess so.
He's like the equivalent of like the shoe shine guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I mean, has he told Indy that? Oh yeah, I let them get him. I let them get Marcus. I totally messed that up. Like he seems
There's good
like
news and bad news.
yeah, I'm fine. The bad news is Marcus
Is
got
he
taken.
embarrassed? Like, is he embarrassed here?
He doesn't seem.
It seems
to be.
like
He's.
Oh, I was gonna
Oh.
say it seemed like he is, but I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of got a whiff that maybe he was. Like, he's like, oh, I really messed this up.
I would expect him to be, but his answer is so like matter of fact and by the numbers, just factual. He's like, enough about how I messed up. The Nazis are moving across the desert, and they probably have Marcus with them.
Yeah, I don't know.
So then everything is kind of switched here, right? So the Nazis have the map, but not the diary. And the diary has the 3 booby trap answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they had to get the diary was important because it actually had the booby trap, whatever, cheat sheet.
Yeah.
And so Indy could trail the Nazis and let them do all the silly surveying and find the canyon of the crescent moon and then let them get booby-trapped and killed, kind of like a regular old Forrestal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is almost exactly what happens in the movie.
What's wrong with that plan? Well, he could kind of just trail them and let them do all the work, and then he knows they don't know that there are booby traps, right?
They might not. Yeah, I don't know.
And I guess they don't really need the map as long as they can find the Nazis, which is like a big plume of dust and sand and standards in the desert.
Yeah.
Well, I also think something happens next minute that shows that was not Indy's plan to follow them kind of surreptitiously.
Curious.
Yes.
I don't like the silver medal line.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was written for the preview of the movie. Like it's only supposed to exist in the preview for the movie. And I think it is in the preview, but I can't shake that. Like I really would have liked if he like you said, Pete, he takes his hat, whips it off. Now they've got the map. Like that would have been a good ending for the scene. And like you don't need like this sort of fakey sage.
You big dummy.
Do it, Tom.
Gilligan.
I was waiting for Lamont.
Oh, Lamont.
It struck me as odd too. This struck me as odd, the silver medal line, and then I was like, well, wait a minute, and I realized that at this point, so this is set in 1938, and the most recent Olympics were 1936 in Berlin. And so the Nazis coming in, like the Nazis in the Olympics, and it was the last Olympics for a little while. So it was like the Olympics of record had just, so maybe, I don't know, maybe there was some, that's what I was thinking of, that like in dealing with the Nazi Germany, that was in his mind was just like, just like in the Olympics that just happened 2 years ago.
And they did have the deleted Jesse Owens line too that would have fed into that.
Right. That's true.
I wonder, how often has Indy's dad told him that? Like, there's no silver medal for finishing second. I'm just imagining, like, Indy's 10 years old. It's the first time he's cooking dinner, by himself for him and his dad. He's using Hamburger Helper. And, his dad's just screaming that at him. There's no silver medal for finishing second.
Right.
Indy tries out for the Olympic swimming team.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not the first time he's heard that,
No. And yeah, Indy's face looks exactly like that when he's like, my dad's yelling at me in front of my friend. I'm just going to sit here and wait for it to pass. And,
he does, he smacks him again with a little pinch of violence, just a smidge.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And I mean, because Indy kind of cringes and goes like, I'm used to this. He goes, I'm used to this.
It's like, I remember this.
Childhood.
Well, I feel like this shot too, this camera shot is sort of emblematic of how Tom, you and Jerry see this movie. Is if it's kind of a strange shot because with the car jostling around, it keeps kind of going in and out of focus.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind that though.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
No, I know. I just like for you guys, it seems like this movie keeps going in and out of focus. Like,
yeah,
that's true.
Well, Pete, do you like the silver medal line, Pete?
I have no real opinion on it. I think it's fine. Yeah. Don't like or dislike it.
Well, shame on you. How could you?
Well, then we cut to Vogel standing out there leading everybody with the map, which is interesting. Like I don't know.
That's weird. Why don't they have a cartographer?
Who needs a cartographer when you got that beautiful detailed map from the diary?
or just like a hell. I mean, make anything up that's not Vogel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a guy who, a local who maybe knows the landscape or knows, the environs of a Skedron. I don't know, anything but just, Vogel sitting there?
Although he is kind of like the guy that just absolutely will not ask for directions, and he gets mad if anybody else tries to ask for directions.
I got it.
That's fair.
I know where it is.
Yeah. I have a really good question, and it's really weird, and I'm never going to know the answer to it. Is Marcus singing or saying something to himself at the very, very beginning of that shot with him? He's like looking up, and his lips are moving, and I feel like I hear voices or like a voice. But like I like even went to like the Amazon with the stupid subtitles and everything. There was nothing there, and but it very much seems to me like he's just kind of going loopy.
Oh, he
and
is
just muttering something.
Yeah, he is. No, he is.
What it is. He is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but you're right. He is kind of just muttering to himself,
Yeah.
which at this point is no surprise.
Sure. Let him have it.
Yeah.
You know what made me super anxious about this is somebody who burns very easily in the sun. Like riding out here in an open car in the desert seems like a miserable idea.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, was there sunscreen around at this time? And a couple of ancient civilizations had something like the Greeks used olive oil and the Egyptians used kind of a zinc oxide paste. But the first synthetic sunscreen came on the market in 1936.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Just in time.
Yeah. Unless they were just planning on using the Grail to heal their burns.
Yeah, it's all going to be okay.
Like this, we better find this quick, man. My skin is
Yeah.
Starting to blister.
Remember when everybody was all about like actual suntan lotion?
Yeah. And remember
Accentuating
they used
the
to say, yeah,
Yeah.
rays of the sun. Bain de soleil.
they'd sell like sunblock 6,
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, you're all right.
Right.
You're good.
just to even things out.
Yeah, copper tone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? Wait, Pete, I need to back up a minute. Why would you put olive oil on your
That
skin
seems weird to me. Yeah.
That's a cooking agent.
That would
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
the opposite. Yeah, you'd be like a turkey.
Yeah.
Right. Delicious.
And then the Egyptians also had a thing where they would mix rice and jasmine extracts that supposedly made a pretty good sunscreen.
Huh.
I see camels and an armed escort and desert vehicles, but I don't see any horses and only one tank. I thought Your Highness promised tanks.
Oh.
That's a good
Tanks.
point. Yeah.
I see. I wonder if he kind of chinched out there.
Well,
a
no,
little
if
bit.
he had just said a tank, then Donovan couldn't have had the amazing punchline of "You're welcome."
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I've enjoyed for years and years and years. And not just since yesterday.
True.
This tank is pretty cool, though. Like their original
is.
plan was they were going to borrow a French tank from a museum, and that didn't fly, so they built their own. And they built this on an excavator chassis, and it's modeled after the Mark 7 tank, which was an Anglo-American tank built in the end of World War I for driving over trenches. And you could kind of see that, like it looks like those old pictures of that first kind of original tanks. And it's even got kind of some barbed wire on the back. But the original didn't have a turret, so they built one for the movie. But it's cool because
cool.
it very well fits the era of the thing. Like this country would have some leftover army surplus tank from World War I that somebody gave them.
Mm-hmm. That is cool. Yeah, I like that tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that tank.
It's a good
Yeah, me
tank.
too. It is.
You'd think that a tank like that might be worth more than a Rolls Royce, though.
Eye of the beholder kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm super into
yeah.
that
Yeah.
Rolls Royce. Yeah.
And maybe like your Highness doesn't like that color.
Yeah, the color of the tank.
Possible. Yeah.
Like he's probably got easier access to weapons, but it's getting a Rolls Royce all the way out there. Somebody would have
Yeah.
to drive it.
True.
Right.
True.
He's got
Yeah.
dozens of those tanks.
Right.
Care to wet your whistle, Marcus? What's I really like the dynamic here between Donovan and Marcus.
Calls him
Like,
Marcus.
do they know each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't he
really?
the one who introduced them earlier? No. It's been a while
no.
since I've seen this movie all the way through.
Yeah, we don't know quite how, because we know, well, they must know each other we don't know what Marcus does at the new university. But since Donovan has donated a lot of stuff, you would expect that if Marcus worked at the museum in
that's
this
true.
one too, he probably would have worked with Marcus.
That's a good point.
Well, so like, what's in the canteen? Is it water, alcohol, or is he chiding Marcus because they're about to drink from the Holy Grail?
I think it's water.
He's like, do you? You don't think? I mean, it says wet your whistle.
Right, I mean, literally.
And Vogel intercepts the cantina.
Yeah, the canteen.
The canteen. Well, we have
Yeah, that's
here. I said
right,
cantina. that's just natural.
Did Marcus's reply make you think of Dan Aykroyd in Temple of Doom? Because he has this weird enunciation. He says, "I'd rather spit in your face." Just kind of like Dan Aykroyd saying, "You will be riding on a cargo full of live poultry." It's like this weird. He almost sings it.
Yeah.
He's having fun.
I think not only is it water, but I think maybe that's what Marcus's his mouth movements are just like dry mouth. Like he was just like,
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
sorry to make
Yeah.
that sound on a podcast for anybody
I sure
listening.
wish somebody would offer me some water.
Yeah.
He has heat stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, he says, I'd rather spit in your face. And so I thought, now what if you drank from the Holy Grail and then spit in somebody's face?
Mm-hmm.
Or even spat in somebody's face? Like, would they have amazing skin?
Maybe. Or they would just be smited or something.
Is it have to come directly from the Grail?
I have no idea, but if there's a Holy Grail in this movie, I'm going to have a ton of questions.
I can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
Bottle Grail water. Like if it just was in a Grail, and then could you pour it into a bottle, and would it still maintain its
Oh, right.
Yeah.
capabilities?
Yeah. Yeah.
They seem like Marcus and Donovan seem to have a mutual disrespectful respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus is probably kind of where Henry is. He's probably like, he worked with Donovan and assumed he was on the up and up, and now he's revealed to be a Nazi. You skunk, a slime of humanity.
Is this helping to redeem Marcus at all for you, or is he still like no way?
Who, me?
Are you
Either of you, or any of you?
Yeah, I'm on board with Marcus 100% all the way.
Okay,
all the time.
good.
Oh, really?
Good.
Okay.
the whole movie?
Yeah, I think that his the comical bits work for me in this, and I think I like him as if he wasn't if he wasn't established as a kind of knowledgeable kind of if he wasn't so established as a what's the word I'm looking for, not uptight, not upright,
Upstanding.
kind of, yeah. Like if you didn't have him as kind of like the together guy in Raiders, then the comedy bits in here wouldn't work, and some might say they don't work, but the work does for me. I like it.
I guess you and I will then have a disrespectful respect.
Jerry wants to spit in your face. But
Yeah,
I want to spit in your face, but I don't have any spit.
He wants to spit in your face.
it's like a weird Dracula. I want to spit in your
I want
face.
to spit in your face.
Yeah, it is. No, you're right, Pete. It is kind of weird.
Oh, is that a Jaws reference that Marcus ain't got no spit?
Oh, I like that.
I do. Hopefully, we can all agree that Donovan's pith helmet is awesome, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
White
it's
pith
pretty
helmet.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. And Elsa has like the super Ralph Lauren Motoring the Silk Road collection look.
Yeah. she's
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, I jumped the gun on this outfit earlier in yesterday's episode. This is what I thought we were talking about when we were talking about cool Elsa outfits, because both of her outfits in this that I'm here for are pretty awesome. But this,
Yeah.
I love that like the guy who's driving doesn't have his goggles on, but she's got hers on. Like she's like,
Yeah. Hers are much more significant, too.
like not to take away from it. Well, this will take away from it, but it reminds me a little bit of the. There's the pictures from a couple of months ago with Ivanka Trump like doing science, and she has like the goggles on and the lab coat, and she's and like everybody was just kind of making fun of like, what the hell are you doing? And it looks a little bit like that. So she was like, I'm on a desert trek. And she's got the goggles on, like even though
I'm an
nobody else.
adventurer.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how Donovan in his pith helmet strikes me too, because he's still got his suit on.
Right.
Like he's unwilling to give up the trappings of his penthouse apartment, but he put on, like he went to to J. Crew and bought a pith helmet, and he's
Totally. Yeah, that's more of an accessory than a utility thing for him. Like,
yeah.
That's amazing. And then, do you think is Vogel within his? Is he I don't know, overstepping his bounds by denying the water that was given to Marcus by Donovan? Like, isn't Donovan sort of pulling the strings around here? And then
I think he is. What's interesting is I want to know, does Donovan know that Marcus didn't wet his whistle?
Yeah.
right.
Well, is it possible Donovan knows that Vogel's going to take it and he's just taunting Marcus here?
It's like a setup. Something they do.
Yeah.
Or is Vogel like helping out Marcus because Marcus doesn't realize that that's what fish make love in, and he's trying to drink it, and he's saving it. Vogel's a good guy.
I think when it comes to kind of operations, Vogel's in charge. So, Donovan's, the kind of, maybe he's the CEO, but the actual kind of COO is Vogel here. So he's like, no, we don't, it's not in the budget for giving you water.
We've only got so much of this stuff.
Yeah.
See, I'm still not sure if where Elsa fits in either. Like, is she equal to Donovan, or is it possible she's even in charge?
She's just in charge of the wallet.
I have no idea. Yeah.
It's not clear.
I have no idea. Yeah.
But that worked really well with Tote. Like, we had no idea how Tote and Dietrich and everybody fit in there.
Yeah, you knew exactly what Tote was going to be pulled in for. You didn't necessarily know his rank or like who outranked who, but you knew like, oh, we got this kind of dirty job. We need Tote.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's amazing. This keeps popping up. It's like an itch that we can't scratch. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you guys have ever had one of those. No, he's because.
Everything you say just sounds so filthy, Jerry.
Yeah. It could have been your nose, or it could have been
Well, we have
something
like
we don't want to know.
There's like there's maybe 3 or 4 bad guys in this and in Raiders, and we keep like Toto is like, he's like a sadomasochist. You know what I mean? He's like, he's a sadist, I should say. He's a true sadist. That's his signature.
Mm-hmm.
And they set that up, and that's why that whole coat hanger thing works.
Yeah.
Like in this movie, that would be stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I feel a little bad saying that, because I could see somebody coming at me and be like, that's a really dumb, goofy line. It's like, an old little fake out. He pulls out this thing, it looks like some torture device, and then he hangs his coat on it. You're like, but that works.
Mm-hmm.
It works. It works because the other things aren't as silly going around in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, if that was a silly thing piled on top of a bunch of other silly things, you'd be like, okay, oh my god, I'm trying to watch.
But we're
a movie.
sitting there. I guess that's all I'm saying. For some reason that does work with Belloc, Tote, Dietrich. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but it makes sense. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That was a really good movie, Raiders. I like that one.
It's true.
I recommend it. Anyone out there who hasn't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, you really should give it a try. It's a very good film.
I love please do let them know if you. I love the idea of somebody who's following along, listening to this minute 84 of Last Crusade, but they haven't gotten around to seeing Raiders yet.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Right.
I'll give it a look one of these days.
Well, we had someone, Luke, I think, had never watched Raiders, and he listened to the entire season 1 of our Raiders show.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
before
yeah.
we watched it. Yeah.
It's crazy. And it worked for him, I guess.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it lived
I
up
hope
to
so.
it.
Did he survive?
He's still around.
Check
so
it
I'm
out.
assuming-
Make sure he's
yeah.
okay.
You know what? Speaking of Raiders,
Yeah.
second 46 looks like the reverse angle of the Ark of the Covenant procession on Malta. Any of you guys pick up on that a little bit?
Mm-mm.
They come around
yeah.
they come around a
Right.
corner in the desert, processional style. It's a little different, but
Yeah.
Well, they're in vehicles for one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard not to see Nazis in the desert in a trail.
sort of
the
like
blazing
a,
sun.
a sun beating down. Yeah, yeah.
I'll just be walking around in the desert and be like, hey, those Nazis look kind of like... oh, no, they're just regular water. They're just looking for water or something.
Leave him alone.
I wanted to give a quick shout out, even though he's no longer in this movie. But while I'm here, I'm going to take the opportunity because he's where the tanks came from. Alexei Sayle. I want to recommend that people go check out the all-new Alexei Sayle show, which was after Alexei Sayle's stuff, and it featuring some. So Graham Linehan wrote for that, who has since gone on to make cool shows like they make Father Ted and the IT Crowd and stuff like that. And Peter Capaldi was on that, who's since become a doctor.
Oh wow!
Ironically, or coincidentally, playing another time traveler in a couple of things. They did a show called Drunk in Time, where Alexei Sayle and Peter Capaldi would play drunks who travel through time. It's like Time Tunnel meets just two drunken Englishmen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why all my things are about time travel today, man? I was talking about Time Boxer. I'm talking about Drunk in Time. Wonder what tomorrow will be like. I'm sorry.
What tomorrow will be like.
I don't want to jump the gun and assume that I'll be invited back for tomorrow, but
Maybe you're just remembering tomorrow's episode with all the time travel stuff.
right.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hey, you know what we didn't say about Alexei Sayle, by the way? What do we make of the fact that Alexei Sayle from The Young Ones is in The Last Crusade and Vivian from The Young Ones is in The Last Jedi?
Oh, nice. I like that.
Thank you. Everybody think about that.
Yeah. Were any other member was like was Neil in The Last Dragon? I couldn't even finish getting that sentence out of my mouth without chuckling because I'm picturing it.
Wow. I'm desperately trying to think of other last movies. We'll get there. Jer, while we're trying to think about other last movies, is there anything you'd like to share? Anything coming in over something? Or
think of a single...
sort of like a beep at a beep?
Wait a minute.
Oh!
Oh.
Gilligan!
Gilligan! You got the radio working with a coconut.
God damn it, that's stupid. This just in from Professor Gilligan Porter. Oh.
Hey, I like the the Buck Rogers there.
This one's a little different. We got a multiple choice here.
Oh, those are easy. C.
Yeah,
C.
yeah. I think it has to do with the beginning of this minute. What do the flags on Elsa's shoulders signify?
Oh, come
Oh.
on.
Wow, I can't even make this stuff up.
Wow.
That's good.
A, you got a father? B, owner absent, guest aboard? C, care if I dive her down?
Jesus Christ.
Or D, mind the buoys?
Wow.
Well, I do think that they have a sort of a nautical motif. I guess you're right, Pete the retailer.
Every once in a while, your sister gets grosser than we are, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even think about it. Let's just run to the end of the minute.
Definitely mind the buoys.
Yeah,
Mind the buoys.
Yeah.
Actually, there is a real flag for that, and the correct answer is B, owner absent, guest aboard.
Wait, that's what the flag's on her
Yes,
on her,
the one on her left, I believe.
Wow.
Is it's kind of like a black diver down looking thing, but it's black. It's black. So I guess that means I guess that's what that flag means. And when you're yachting or boating or
Totally is.
nautical.
Look at that.
Argo.
I was just looking at the alphabet and wasn't even thinking about complicated sentences or anything, and there it is. Guest on board.
It's too bad because it's the least innuendo-y sounding one of the options. But oh well. Although
I don't know. I think you could work on your innuendo a little bit if you feel like that, Tom.
That's true.
I like owner having guest aboard.
Know what I'm saying?
I got it. I'm there now.
Just add know what I'm saying after it, and it works.
Yeah. Am I right?
This guy knows what I'm talking about.
All right. Listen, everybody fold your hands. We're going to close this thing up like professionals. First, we go to our guest, Pete the Retailer.
Hello.
We say, Pete, thank you for joining us yet again. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having.
We command that you come back tomorrow. It's in the contract, and you're still chained to the radiator, so there's nothing you can do about it.
Understood.
All right, and now tell other people the other things you do.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Pete the Retailer. It's all one word with no underscores or anything like that. But then mainly I'm on Star Wars Minute, which is at Star Wars Minute on Twitter. Although the Twitter account most of the time is run by my co-host Alex, who you guys have heard on this show previously.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, Star Wars Minute, ABC Devo, which we do, and various other things.
You just named two of the best parts of the internet. ABC Devo and Star Wars Minute.
Oh, you say Twitter and...
and Alex Robinson.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everybody. That's enough plugs for one night. Why don't you just come back here tomorrow? This is your plug for the day. Just come back tomorrow. There's another episode of the show tomorrow. So come back for minute 85 tomorrow. Minute 85 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Is this silver medal thing a fever dream for Chewbacca not getting a medal?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Wow. How can you come up with all the cool fever dream stuff after the cameras are off?
Yeah.